Hello. This section is going to be a short section on helping you navigate Onshape. Once you log in, you're going to meet with a screen that looks similar to this. You won't have all these projects down here and it'll just be an empty page. If you don't want to do Onshape's tutorial, I can briefly give you a guide as to how to work Onshape for the context of what we're going to be building. First, you want to start and move your cursors with create up top and create a document. Name it whatever you want. Say my first project if you want. It can be anything. This is just going to be used to help you get an understanding of how CAD works. When you're in your first document, you're going to be met with this. You're going to see 3 planes and a bunch of buttons up here. It's going to be hard to look around because if you left click, you drag. If you right click, you move. And if you hold the mouse button or your scroll wheel, you can move without rotation. Right now, we're just going to worry on making a square. We're going to start by pressing one of these faces on here to get a nice flat edge. Press on that big square you see, you'll know because it'll be highlighted. And then press Sketch. Sketches are our drawings and what we can use to make any 3D shape. Any and all models in Onshape, regardless of 2D drawings or 3D models, start from a 2D sketch. We'll start by using this line function and just create a line, create another, and end it in a triangle. What I want you to do is then press check mark. It should be kind of grayish, and if you turn around, it's completely flat and stuck to that face. If we select it again and it glows yellow, we can then use this button up here called extrude. It's right beside the sketch sign, and it creates that 3D image we want by pulling our face off of this plane, which for me is the right plane. We can set it to 100 millimeters, 25 millimeters, 20, anything. And when you're done, just press check mark. Every sketch doesn't have to be on the face of one of these 3 planes. We can make a sketch on the face of a flat surface like this triangle here. We can press sketch and create another one. Right now, we're making a sketch on the face of this triangle. And let's say we want to make like a tube shape. We go hover over to the center point circle, select it, press anywhere on this grid, hold and move your cursor either closer or farther away from the center to select the radius. If you want a specific number, we use this number called dimension. We press dimension, we can see that lines will become highlighted. I want you to select on the edge of the circle and change that number to 20. Some people, that number might move a lot depending on how big your circle is. For others, it won't at all. Press check mark, and now let's try and remove a circle in this triangle. So once again, we're going to use extrude, select the face of the circle, and then instead of last time where it was on add, go over to remove and bring the circle, drag this arrow all the way through, and you'll see that we now have a hole in our triangle, not triangle, but 3D object. If you want to save this part for later to come back to, you can create a version and named it come back later for reference. Anytime you make a change, you can name V1. And let's say I make a sketch on this plane and I make a big rectangle and I want to extrude this all the way out there. Say I'm far into my project and I want to go back to when I was looking at like that triangle with a hole. I can go back down here to the versions that I saved. And although you can't make changes to these versions, if you right click, you can branch. And you branch to create workspace. Branch 1. It takes almost like a new timeline. you have two different timelines for your project. Your main one, and now your yellow one, or your second branch. These are two different timelines, and you can make any change on either one, and it won't affect the other. It'll be whatever the last version was saved at. And Onshape auto saves, so in case your computer crashes or your window freezes and you have to close it, don't worry, you won't need to restart everything. Just try to make sure to keep these versions as they are not auto saved, and you will have to go back to save them. And then lastly, in order to leave, just press that button, that Onshape button in the top left corner, and you'll see your project appear here. Go fool around with Onshape a bit, try to make some little shapes that you like, and then you can move on to the next step and get started on making your piston assembly.